journeying to a rendezvous. The idea for a book of adoption reunions was conceived when I was looking out over the ocean at Ceduna. I took a couple of photos of the wild seas to let those people in my past know where I was, and to let the people I will soon meet know how much progress I've made in their direction. The trip across Eyre Peninsula was difficult. There was a ferocious crosswind that was carrying soil let loose by farming methods not suited to this country. There was so much dirt in the air it obscured my view and it made driving hazardous. I wanted to pull up, but the edges of the road were less visible than the route ahead, and there was no likelihood that I'd be any safer there. So I continued slowly with my lights on and wrestled to keep my camper van moving forwards in a straight line, knowing other drivers would be struggling as well. When you're in the midst of dirt in motion, you have no idea where the road leads or how far to the end. I didn't know if it would get denser or start to disperse. I hoped the next farmer had kept his soil rooted to the ground. And I was cross. European farming methods belong elsewhere. They're not part of the culture of this land. I'd just nursed my van through something that felt like my life. Life with a foreign family, where I didn't belong, where I was unleashed and blinded to my roots, where I powered on with tunnel vision to find my home soil, my place of belonging with my family of origin. What did I know about reunions, I asked myself. Before the storm, I'd been thinking about the meaning of the word reunion. It implies there was a union before. There was a union in the womb that was prematurely broken at birth. It implies that pieces can be brought together again, united, and suggests they can stick. But our separated lives after birth have changed the shapes. I thought about the television programs I've seen that showed the longing of people for reunions, to know their roots. The programs arrange meetings between the estranged family members, but our knowledge of the coming together of their lives ends with the shows. I thought about the stories of all the people I know living adopted lives and their various attempts to reunite. I thought about books I've read of individual experiences. The pictures of the faces of reunion are as varied as the people and their cameras. I'm heading to Perth to meet the people who knew my father. My father is dead, but I'm lucky he told his many other children that there was another child who was in a home, and many of these brothers and sisters want to meet me. I have an inkling that this will be more valuable than would have been meeting him. I've already met a cousin who has given me a lot of information about the family. Perhaps it's more successful for us to get information and form relationships with our grandparents and siblings rather than with our parents. There's no road map to show the terrain, no guide for navigating reunion. No two attempts will be the same. Broken pieces can be brought together if there's some sort of picture of the product under construction, a construction guide and a lot of glue. But none of that exists for separation by adoption, because people in the business of trading children said the separation would be permanent. There was nothing for me to draw on other than the experiences I've had in this life and for what lay ahead. Blinded by a dust storm yet ploughing on, I'd made it to the start of the Nullarbor crossing. I'd made it this far in my attempt to know my roots, and this journey, like the story of my life, makes itself up as it goes along. Sometimes it feels like I'm part of a greater plan, and sometimes I accept the chaotic nature of existence. A niece contacted me through an ancestry website, and we confirmed that my father was her grandfather. I was no longer the waif acquired to fix the marriage problems and give meaning to someone else's barren life. I joked that I was not an immaculate conception after all. There was a father. I'm setting out on a route well travelled by my family. It's a crossing my father did many times. After he left my mother, he travelled with a circus. Then later he drove as a truckie, and sometimes he crossed with his car and caravan. His stories are stories of absence, especially in the people who knew him. Some stories still need to be unearthed. Each person's story is unique, and I'm glad to be able to offer this book of other adoptees' lived experiences. This book is about the turmoil of unearthing our creation stories and our experiences meeting family members and remembering our dismembered origin stories. We offer it as a reality check to the happy ever after stories of reunion. Even with the best will in the world, managing our own and the expectations of everyone else after an adoption is hard work for an adoptee.